So Cameroon, Nigerian artist, Naira Marley recently had an issue in Cameroon.
Yeah.
It ties back to the fact, just the sentiment that caused Omale and Thames arrest in Uganda.
Yeah.
Other African countries want Nigerian music to be banned in their countries. So
Yeah.
what's the origin of this sentiment?
Look at Nigeria, for example. Nigeria is like the America of Africa. We are enviable, we are visible. There's a high level of desirability that comes with everything Nigerian. Nigerians have there's a gathering or a community of Nigerians everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. Even in Cameroon, in Kumba, Cameroon, there's a gathering of Nigerians in Kumba, Cameroon. Nigerians who have been there, have been married there, and been there for a long time. And we have a huge population. We have over 200 million people. And over 50% of Nigerians is under 19. That means the things that we create in pop culture or that we move with in pop culture, they're going to transcend our country, and they're going to get out into the world faster than the creations of other countries, right? And Nigerians, especially especially the Igbo, very entrepreneurial, they're very, very enterprising people. Wherever they go, they dominate. In South Africa, for example, when the anti-Nigerian sentiment was huge there, the Igbo people were dominating in business, in everything. They were building homes, they were doing a lot of things. When things started happening, in South Africa it was more xenophobic, just hate for all things Nigerian. But now it's about Nigerian music, because people feel like Nigerian music is preventing the success and the scaling of their own music in their own countries. Now, how did we get here? Again, there's an incredible geographical spread of Nigerians. In the US and in parts of mainstream Europe, the spread of Nigerians is quite incredible. First generation and second generation African immigrants are in those places. That part meant the music that we created, or the music that we create, is going to travel faster than almost anything. Because going back through history, as much as high life is the origin of Afrobeat, Fela took Afrobeat and made it something else entirely. Now, the signing of Sunny Ade to Island Records in the early 80s led to the signings of other African artists like Madu Dibango, like a whole lot of them got signed to foreign record labels because of that. Sunny Ade was sort of the guy that opened the door to another generation of artists to be signed to that label. Now let's come to the 90s, right? When the hip hop culture started blossoming in Nigeria, it influenced other parts of the continent. At the same time, Nollywood was blowing up. By the mid-2000s, the Ghanaian movie industry blossomed because of crossover successes in Nigeria. Either you like it or not. Now we are here. Afrobeats is now a thing. Afrobeats, not Afrobeats. And every time anybody outside Africa thinks of Afrobeats, they think of Nigeria. Like almost the only country that probably comes to your mind is Nigeria. Whereas Afrobeats is like a collection of African pop sounds. So you are talking about every other thing. You are talking about Kwaito in South Africa. Amapiano is Afrobeats, because these people don't know the name of this genre. Kizomba from Congo is Afrobeats to them, because they all sound African. The African percussion is the same thing. Now we are here. Nigerian artists are bigger than ever. In other African countries, their music are traveling. If Wizkid releases an album today, it's going to be #1 in a lot of African countries. If Burna Boy releases an album today, it's going to be #1 in a lot of African countries. The same thing with Davido to Savage. It's not a problem for other people because Nigerian artists are bigger than their own music. Now look at Stanley Eno, for example, the Cameroonian artist. He went to a party in Cameroon, and it was on the francophone part of Cameroon. There's an anglophone part and there's a francophone parts. The Anglophone and the francophone parts of South Africa, of Cameroon, have been warring for a long time, right? Stanley Eno goes to a francophone party. Those guys are blasting Nigerian music. He thinks, because of the clash between the Anglophone and the francophone, is from the Anglophone parts. He thinks that's why they are not playing music from the Anglophone parts of Cameroon and they instead favor Nigerian music. That's why he came online and was talking about the fact that be fair to your own brothers over Nigerian artists. Whereas, as much as that might be the case, right now, either you like it or not, Nigerian music is just more fashionable. It's more popular. It's more trendy. And there is nothing you can do about it.
Is there any merit to this complaint?
I wouldn't think so, to be honest. I really wouldn't think so. In a way, it seems unfair, right? Because in your own country, your own artists can't exactly have a foothold on radio over Nigerian artists. Nigerian artists are dominating everywhere. You go on radio, they are there. On streaming platforms, they are favored. Every other place, they are favored. But here's the thing, you have to look at it holistically, right? If your people do not like Nigerian music, like if the people in your country do not like Nigerian music is not going to be big in your country. Like, it's not going to thrive. I agree that if you promote something in a particular way and you play it excessively to those people in a particular place, they are going to like it. Like, remember when Rihanna released Rude Boy in Nigeria, for example, on MTV Base? There was a day that within 12 hours, my sister and I counted it, they played that song over 15 times. Everybody from my age group knew Rude Boy. We could sing it word for word because MTV Base was what we were watching at the time. So if you force feed people such things, they are going to like it. But at the same time, this is not about force feeding. Davido and Wizkid will go to a lot of African countries. Davido, Wizkid, Burna Boy, P-Square at the time. The bands, they will go to African countries and sell out venues. Easy. P-Square especially were selling out venues across Africa. It didn't just start today. So, if it wasn't favorable to you, if your people don't like these songs, they are not going to be big in your country. And there's nothing you can do about that. On streaming platforms, either you like it or not, aside from South Africa, Nigeria is the gold mine of Africa because we have the numbers. And like I said before, over 50% of us in Nigeria is under 19 years old. And they are internet savvy. And internet penetration in Nigeria increased to about over 30% last year. Alone is about 32.6% now. So you can't say fault streaming platforms because these people are trying to make money. You can't compare 200 million people to 25 million people. You can't even compare 200 million people to 50 million people. There's a whole difference between them. And then you are not the only one that has been here before. We've been here before. At different times in Nigerian history, foreign music has been bigger than our music here. Nigerian music just started. I was having a conversation with Bankole recently. It's not recent. It's about a year ago, maybe a little close to a year ago, and we were discussing how in the 90s, hip hop, American hip hop and R&B were big on Nigerian radio, much bigger on Nigerian radio than Nigerian music was at the time. Huge. They want Nigerian music banned. It doesn't make any sense. And even like from that era, after that era, right? We are looking at 2000s when Westlife, Backstreet Boys, Celine Dion, Jennifer Lopez were huge in Nigeria. Then in the 2000s, we are looking at Ja Rule and 50 Cent. There was an entire G-Unit era in Nigeria that transcended music and into merch. People were wearing G-Units. It started from the Tupac era. Remember that Tupac merch? All Eyes on Me. Everybody had it. If you didn't have it, you were not cool enough. You would cry to your mother to buy it for you. Now, from then, after that era, we are looking at mid-2000s where Two-Face and VIP had an entire run in Nigeria where they inspired us. Before that, we are looking at the early 2000s where Awilo Logomba was an entire thing in Nigeria. It was the biggest thing in Nigeria at some point. It was bigger than all Nigerian artists. Either you want to admit it or not. Now, you guys are saying that Nigerian, it's a problem because of this and that. It's not exactly
true. So why
true.
are these artists struggling in their own country? Because you can't necessarily mean just because of sound. Flavor does highlight in the East and he's big there.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of money. Still a successful artist on his own. He's not necessarily Afrobeat in that sense. So why are these other African countries, why are the artists struggling?
Are they really struggling though? No, they are not.
Why they are envious.
They think that if Nigerian artists were to leave their country, things would be better for them. But here is the truth. Times have gone. The times that a foreign artist will be bigger than a native artist in a country, those times have left us completely. They are not here anymore. Like, there was a time that Tupac was bigger than any Nigerian artist. There was a time that Awilo Logomba was bigger than any Nigerian artist. Now, nobody's bigger than Wizkid in Nigeria. Nobody.
Not even Drake.
Nobody. Drake can come here and sell 40 million. Can sell 40 million. 40 million. He can sell out a 25,000, 40,000 stadium. So will Wizkid. But will Drake's album stream more times than Wizkid's album? No. It's not going to happen. Will you stream more than Davido? No. Will you stream more than Tiwa Savage? No. Will you stream more than Burna Boy? No. Now, if things might not be as clear for those other countries, but last year, guess who dethroned Wizkid's album on Apple Music when Wizkid dropped his EP? Rifatin, a Ghanaian artist in Ghana, dethroned Wizkid. There is no way that a Wizkid or a Burna Boy might be bigger than some of your artists in your country. A Burna Boy might come there and sell 40,000, no problem. He will sell the 40,000 capacity stadium. That's not the problem. But will you consistently stream more than your artist in 5 years? Probably not. No. It's just as much as they are very sensitive about this, but another problem that they also have is shows. A lot of times, people call Nigerian artists for shows over their own artists. Nigerian artists tend to headline more shows than their artists. But here's the thing. The gist of it is the brand. Like with the Naira Marley situation, the guy that was promoting that show, the show promoter, Prince Michael Enos, was saying that I have to make money. There's an entire Malian culture in Cameroon. I might not be able to do this twice in a year or even twice in 3 years. But this one time that I want to do it, I'm going to do it. So you can't, it doesn't make, as much as some of the things they are saying is understandable, at the root of it seems some form of envy. And it also screams of a lack of strategy. Like you mentioned the other time, NBC mandated that Nigeria had to play 25% Nigerian music at some point. In Nigeria, in the late 90s and early 2000s. There was that mandate. But instead, you guys want one Nigerian music band. And then there's also the problem of, I was speaking with the gospel artist Adaehi at some point. She said, one of the reasons why Nigerian music got bigger and better in Nigeria was because at some point, Alaba made sure that they promoted and pushed Nigerian music. Not to the detriment of other genres of music, no. But they made sure that they took it upon themselves to make sure that Nigerian music was thriving. Now, this was the era of John 3:16. When the CD era in Nigeria, right, in the early 2000s, when it started thriving, right, you remember those John 3:16 mixtapes? Foreign music was thriving as much as Nigerian music. But at the same time, we found our own pop sound. We found our pop sound in the mid-2000s with the entrance of Timaya, Nice, Wande Cole, and then Wizkid. We found our pop sound and we never looked back from there. And guess what informed our pop sound? Hip-hop, R&B, and Awilo Logomba. And a little bit of street sound. Yeah. That's basically what our sound is now.
Do you think if Nigerian music as a whole kind of pay respect to their influences a little more, do you think that sentiment will change?
I don't get that question.
Do you think if Nigerian musicians, if Nigerian artists start paying more respect to the influences, like you're talking about influence from Ghana, Ireland, and so if they pay respect to those, I'll talk about the influences. Do you think it will change in that sentiment?
I think it's a problem for people generally to acknowledge the influence of other countries on them. We had this problem in Nigeria a few years back. That was a good question, by the way. You remember when Mr. Easy came out and started saying he influenced everybody in Nigeria? And people were saying, oh, you are lying. Oh, it's not true. The sound didn't change because you got here. That's not true. When Mr. Easy got into this country, the entire soundscape changed. The Ghanaian pom-pom sound basically influenced 60% of Nigerian hits over the next 12 years after Mr. Easy released Skin Tight. Either you want to admit it or not. Everybody wanted to tie into that. It's just like Amapiano now. How everybody is obsessed with Amapiano now, that was how we were obsessed with pom-pom then. Maybe it was even worse with pom-pom at the time because we were tired. You remember when you guys did an episode of Loose Talk where you were complaining that do we want to make anything anymore? Because everybody wanted to make pom-pom sound. But at the same time, I can understand, but sometimes the Nigerian artists give credit. Nigerian artists pay homage. Remember the Mafikizolo era? Nigerian artists were not just jumping on the sound. They featured Mafikizolo to a point where we were saying this is too much. You had Drunken featuring Mafikizolo. You had Davido featuring Mafikizolo. You had Mehdi featuring Mafikizolo. This was Koito sound, Afro house. That's some form of homage, either you like it or not. When Makosa blew in Nigeria in the late 90s and early 2000s, gospel artists were making that sound. You don't have to say it expressly that this is what I'm doing before you pay me. The fact that you're jumping on it is appreciation. One of my mentors would say that the greatest form of respect is imitation. That's the greatest form of respect. You don't have to say it. It doesn't have to be expressed. But sometimes you have to say it. And Nigerian artists do say it sometimes. So as much as these people, and the sound, our pop sounds, they are not essential, they are not especially the same. Like Makosa and Soukous, which is predominant in Francophone African countries, is different from the type of Afro pop we do here. Now sometimes they overlap. Alongside the Afro pop and the Kizomba in East Africa, Kizomba in East Africa, Afro pop, Afro house in South Africa, they sort of overlap to form different sounds. Because the percussion at the root of it is an African percussion that everybody will understand that is African. Now, here is the problem. You can't then say that these people have not influenced you in a way. You can't say that your country has not benefited from it. You can't say that the only way to this is banning it. We can find a solution. Look at the Naira Marley situation yesterday. There was a guy that put something on Facebook yesterday confirming what really happened in Cameroon. I got a call around 5:30 in the morning about this. This is ugly. Let's even leave music aside for a minute. Why are we fighting amongst each other? Blackness is the most maligned race. The black race is the most maligned race in the world. We get looked down upon either we like it or not. Either we do something wrong or not. But because of ego, we are fighting each other. And it's a lie that Nigerian music, we don't open our borders to people. It's a blatant lie. It's not true. Ghanaian Afro pop has had 3 different eras here. 3 different here. We had the VIP era, which sort of trickled down into the Samini era in the mid 2000s, and then you had in the late 2000s you had the era that Wandiko brought with the Ghana freestyle, which brought them R2Bs here. They had an entire run in Nigeria, and then you had the pom pom era. With South Africa, you had the hip hop era, the Double HP, and then Proverb, and then Pro Kid, and then Tear Gas. Later, you had the Afro House, you had the Kwaito era. No, you had the Brenda Fassie era. Then you had the hip hop era. Then you had the Kwaito era. Then you had the Afro House era, and you have the Amapiano era now in Nigeria, all in Nigeria. We are looking at Cabo Snoop, who had 2 hits in Nigeria when he had 2 hits in his own country. They were huge here. Fally Ipupa had a run here, where he was featuring on Nigerian songs everywhere. Jim Martins featured him on a huge song. Mafikizolo, the same thing, like I said the other time. The way forward is not xenophobia. This is not about music anymore. We need to do better amongst each other, ourselves, and we need to be better. And that's facts only.